Hello everyone, my name is Piero Caceres, and I will be your tour guide on the presentation today. This video is being recorded for Professor Pon's Embedded Operating Systems course. So, if you're watching this video, chances are you want to learn a little bit about bash scripting, so without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Okay, so before we get into the nitty and gritty of bash scripting, let's clarify one thing. What is bash scripting? Well, bash scripting, in its simplest definition, it is telling the computer what to do or what to say through a file that's going to contain a series of commands that's going to tell Linux how to perform these actions. So the reason it's called bash scripting is because we are telling the bash shell what to do or how to do or how to run these commands. How do you create a bash script? Well, that's easy. All you need is an editor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch my terminal. And right now, I'm currently in my home directory. So I'm going to change it to my desktop. I'm going to create a new directory. So I'm going to call it main directory. We're going to call it bash. I'm going to change it to my bash directory. So now that we're in this directory, we're going to go ahead and create a file using the gedit editor. And we're going to call it hello. And here we're going to go ahead and write our script. Now our first line is very important because this line tells us that it's going to be a bash script. The first thing you write is pound exclamation mark /bin / bash, and that right there tells it that it's going to be executing a bash script. And then from here on out, whenever you see a pound sign or hashtag, tells you that it's going to be a comment. So we're going to leave ourselves a comment saying that this script is a hello world bash script. And here, since all we want to do is display on the terminal hello world, and in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and use echo. And echo, what that does is displays the contents of the contents of a variable, but what we're going to be displaying is the contents of this string right here, hello world. And once it does that, we want to go ahead and exit. And now this cool thing is going to happen. When I hit save, it's going to go ahead and color code our script here, and it's going to recognize that it is a script, not just a regular text file. So we can save. There you see, little change in color. We'll go ahead and close our script. And now, once that we save the file, this following step is very important. And what we need to do is ground the file. In other words, give this file executable rights. If we do a simple list right here, we're going to notice that hello world has read and write privileges, but it does not have execute. In order to give this file executable rights, we're going to type in chmod, give the user executable rights to the file hello. We type that, we do another list ls list, and then you see right here we have now given hello read, write, and executable rights. So we're going to go ahead and execute the file, and notice right now we're in the bash directory. So to execute the file directly from this directory, instead of displaying its actual whole path, we're going to do / hello. We hit enter, and as you can see right here, it displays hello. Now let's create a simple bash script that's going to add up two numbers. We're going to go ahead and call it sum. So again, gedit sum. And now let's type the following code. We're going to go ahead, like we said, you have to write pound exclamation mark /bin / bash, and we want to tell the user to enter a number. And then we're going to say read num1. Num1. So read, what that does, it allows the user to go ahead and input a value so that we can read it, hence read. And we're going to tell the user, echo, enter second number. Read that, it started num2, and then we're going to go ahead and get the total. The total is, now here we have to use the dollar sign, and the dollar sign indicates that we're calling the value that's stored inside the variable that we call num1 plus num2. Then we're going to echo and tell the user the sum is, quote, then we call the variable total. And then we hit exit. As we save, we're going to see a little change in color. Good. And then we're going to close. This next file, this next step you cannot forget, chmod u plus x, give the user executable rights to the file that we named sum. We're going to go ahead, period / sum. We hit enter, it's going to tell us to enter a number, we're going to do 5, enter a second number, 4. Oops, I think my number lock was not 4. Oh, things weird going on. 4. It's telling us that the sum is 5 plus 4, but we know that 5 plus 4 is 9. So, why do you think it's doing that? Why do you think it's displaying the expression and not the total sum? Pause the video for a second and think and see if you can come up with a reason why. Alright, well, thank you for coming back. So, as I previously said, was for some reason we're getting our expression back rather than the total sum. Let me go ahead and open the file again. Everything seems to be about right, but there's one issue. You see these variables num1, num2, and then tout for total? Here's the thing, we never declared them. And in Linux, when it comes to bash scripting, whenever you don't declare a variable, it takes it and it assumes it's a string. So rather than doing 5 plus 4 equals 9, it literally got the variable, the string 5, and it concatenated these two strings. So it did 5 plus 4 rather than giving us the total. So all we have to do is go ahead and just declare these variables. And the way you do it is you type declare. Since these are integers, you do -i num1. We're going to declare as an integer num2, and we're going to declare integer dash total. So now that we have our variables declared, we're going to save, close. There's no need to go ahead and chmod the file because we previously did that. So we're going to go ahead and call and execute the file. It's going to ask us enter a number. We're going to enter 5. So sorry about that. Had some technical difficulties, and it turns out my keypad decided to not work. So like I had previously said, we're going to go ahead and call the script sum. It's going to ask us to enter a number. We're going to do 5, and then we're going to enter 4. And as you can see now, it's displaying that the sum is 9. So to recap, whenever you use a variable and don't declare it, Bash will assume and take it as a string. You do have other forms of declaring variables. You can declare a variable as read-only, you can declare an array, and you can also declare a variable as a function. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump into the if and else statement. So we'll go ahead and clear the terminal. The concept of if and else statements in Bash is the same as in other programming languages. The concept doesn't change, but what does change in Bash is the syntax. So let me show you. We're going to go ahead and create a new document using gedit again, and I'm going to call it if else. Let me start this over, and again, can't forget, / bin/bin/bash. We're going to read, and we're going to call it my new directory. So this variable, we're going to call it my new dir. And here what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and test to see if this directory exists. Tell us that it exists. If it doesn't exist, we're going to display that it does not exist. And to check to see that the directory does exist, we're going to use -t. And that right there is going to tell us if the directory exists or not. So we're going to go ahead and call the variable my new directory, space, close bracket, semicolon, and you type then, and we're going to echo. So if the statement is true, or if that condition is true, I mean, we're going to display the directory exists. Else, if the condition is not true, we're going to echo and say that the directory does not exist. And here's a catch. So if you're familiar with C or C++ programming, or even Java, you know that you have your curly brackets when you open an if statement and then close it. In Bash, we don't have curly brackets, but what you do have to do is type if backwards. And you type 5. You go ahead and you're going to exit the script. We're going to go ahead and save it. So we're going to close it. We're going to go ahead and give the file executable rights. We're going to give the user, and I just noticed I misspelled L, so I'm going to have to be careful with that. Okay, do that. We're going to go ahead and launch the file, and then, so right now it's asking us to name a directory. We're going to call it the test directory. I'm going to say, sorry, that directory does not exist. Oh, so remember how he said syntax is very important, that you must include space? I forgot to space the 0 between the exit. So what I'm going to do is just jump back into the file, if else, and just provide that space right there. There we go. Save that. Cool. And then we're going to go ahead and say, so we didn't find that directory. So let's go ahead and let's make that directory test. So if we list, we have the directory test right here. So now when we call the script, if else, and we say test, it's actually going to tell us now that the directory does exist. So that's how that's using if else statements. You can go ahead and check to see if the directory does exist, and that's using -d. If you would like to see if a file exists, you would go ahead and use -f. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and clear the terminal. And now what we're going to jump into are cases. And cases are used in situations when you start to have complex conditional statements. I'm not saying that nested if statements are bad, but it can get to the point where you confuse yourself and you lose track and then you're just lost. So what we're going to do now is create a script that's going to ask the user to enter a month, and they will be informed what season they were born in. So without further ado, we're going to do a gedit case, and then here, slide this over again, we do /bin/bash. We're going to read, and we're going to call this variable month. We're not going to declare it because we're going to be entering a string, so just calling it by month is fine. Here's where the syntax is important. We type case to indicate that we're going to be using case. Then we $sign month. And we're going to say if it's December or January or February, close parentheses, we're going to echo and say that you were born in winter. And then here you have to do semicolon to end that specific condition. Then we're going to jump into June or July for August, and we're going to echo you were born in summer. So end quote, and then we're going to do semicolon, semicolon, and then we're going to do one last case, and that's for September, October, or November. Space, we're going to echo you were born in fall. Semicolon, semicolon, and then here we do asterisk, space, close parentheses, and if it doesn't meet none of these three cases, we're going to tell them, sorry, the month does not, or we'll say, sorry, the month is not available. And quote, and then we do semicolon, semicolon. Now, the same way we had closed the if statement before by spelling if backwards, it's the same thing with case. So we're going to spell ESAC. Then we're going to say exit 0, and we hit save, and just make sure that, there we go, I did include the space this time between the 0, and we're going to close it. We're going to crown the file, give it executable rights, u plus x, and this file is named case. Alright, so what we're going to do is go ahead and call the script, and since it is December, we're going to go ahead and enter the month of December, and as you can see, it says you were born in winter. What happens if we call and say we enter the month of May? It says, sorry, the month is not available. And the reason it says that is because if we open up the script, I did not include the months that belong to spring. So I'm going to leave that as a little exercise for you to go ahead and fill in the code, enter the 3 remaining months, and test your script out. So we have reached the point in the video where we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And the way we're going to do is, we're going to go ahead and everything we've learned so far, variables, if statements, case, and declaring variables, we're going to go ahead and do one simple exercise that's going to incorporate everything. So if the previous examples were not clear or were a bit rushed, I hope that this example clears up any doubts. So the last script that we're going to work on is a script that's going to ask the user to input 3 numbers. And once we input the 3 numbers, it's going to ask the user to go ahead and either add the numbers or find the average. The user makes a selection and the script will display the result. So we're going to go ahead and clear the terminal, and we're going to go ahead and g-edit. I will call this script last practice, just for the sake of it, since it is our last practice. We go ahead, and by now you should know that it's pound exclamation mark /bin/bash. We're going to call this, we're going to make a little comment saying a script to do math, since we are finding the sum and the average. We're going to go ahead and declare the 3 variables we're going to use. Declare A, declare B, declare integer C, and then we're going to declare one more so we can store our answer. Now, we're going to go ahead and tell the user to enter a number, and then we're going to read A, we're going to echo, so enter second number, we're going to read B, and last but not least, we're going to enter third number, we're going to read C. Then we're going to tell the user, okay, well, what do you want to do? Close quote. And then we're going to say, okay, do you want to ask for some to add them up? Or do you want to go ahead and find the average? So we're going to say average. So we're going to say to enter your choice. And we're going to read choice. We're not going to declare choice just because the user is going to be entering a character S or V. And we're going to read that as a string. So then we're going to present ourselves with the case choice. We're going to call the variable choice because that's what the user has input. And we're going to go ahead and say, well, if the user inputs S, or just in case they put lowercase s, we want to test both. We're going to say, okay, the variable answer is going to add A, add B, and add C. I'm going to close that case. And then, if they enter V, or lowercase v, answer is going to equal A plus B plus C. And we're going to go ahead, and then, since it is the average, we need to call the sum of answer and divide that by 3. So we're going to go ahead and close that statement. Let me just go ahead and indent that so things are in proper order. And then if the user doesn't select V or S, we're going to tell them echo that was a bad command. And we're going to semicolon, semicolon. We close the case loop by spelling ESAC. And then we're going to display the answer by saying your answer is, and we call the variable answer, and then we exit the script. So we're going to hit save, make sure that everything is in proper order, everything looks right. So we're going to go ahead and close it. We're going to chmodule plus x last practice, make sure I spelled it correctly, good. And now we're going to go ahead and call the script as practice. So it says enter number. We're going to do 50 plus 30 plus 20. It says what do you want to do? Do you want to add them up, find the average? Let's add them up. And it says your answer is 100. And if we do the math ourselves, 50 plus 30 is 80 plus 20, in fact, is 100. So, as you can see, this script worked well. We can test it one more time and actually test the average. See what's 50 plus 30 plus 20. But this time we want to find the average. And it says that the average is 33. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the basic of Bash. Hope this video helped you out, and happy holidays and enjoy your Bash scripting.